This is the Book Legion Podcast, where we review thought-provoking books to give our Legionnaires the knowledge they need to dominate the next level of their life.
Hi everybody, thanks so much for joining me this week on the Book Legion. This is your host, Ty. This week I'm going to be covering Dean Graziosi's book, Millionaire Success Habits. So this book's been out for several years. Many of you might have already read it. I believe you can actually still pick the book up for free based off a lot of Dean's publications. For those of you who aren't familiar with Dean, he made all of his money in buying commercial real estate. He was someone you may have seen back in the 90s. It was on infomercials. He was a follower of Tony Robbins and actually now is a business partner with him, but took his principles on how to run infomercials, the power of belief in self, and really wanted to help and serve other people. So he helped people generate lots of wealth in real estate. He himself created hundreds of millions of dollars. And then he put on all kinds of courses now on just how to be successful in business from the companies he's built. So this book goes over the success habits that Dean's learned himself. He's applied in his own life to grow his own businesses, but also success habits that he's learned from billionaires and millionaires that he knows himself in his personal life. So I'm going to cover my top three favorite chapters and go into a couple of the takeaways in each chapter and give you a recommendation of the book. So the first chapter I want to cover is chapter 2, which is the foundation for all success. So chapter 2 really starts to walk you through your why, and I haven't really covered this as much. Maybe I touched on it here and there in a few different other books, but he really does a deep dive into understanding that your why, if you're not clear on that, you don't have that defined of what you're trying to do, whether you think you're trying to pursue a hobby and turn it into a business, or you're trying to pursue a different type of promotion within the company. He really wants you to get clear on why you're going after the things that you do and why you proceed on a daily basis of either working for somebody or trying to open a business or you're running your business. And so one of the things that he did that was really instrumental for me and that I did do was he has this process in there called the 7 levels of why, or 7 levels of deep. And really what it is, it starts with like, ask yourself, what's your goal? Well, my goal is I want to make $10 million this year. Well, why do you want to make $10 million? Because it would bring me financial security. Well, why is financial security important to you? Because I didn't have a financial security kid. Well, why would it be important for you to create financial security for your children, right? So it's just basically this 7 layers where you ask yourself the question why 7 times to truly find out what your why is and what your purpose is. Because a lot of times when you start to look at finding your why, a lot of people do what I did, and it's very superficial. Why do you want to make $10 million? Because I want financial security. Well, why is financial security important to you, right? And you start to really want to sift through and get to the root meaning of what your why is. So that way it's something you can keep coming back for that's meaningful and purposeful. And when you go to accomplish it, it'll be a lot more fulfilling if you have clarity on that. So this chapter is really about the most fundamental thing when it comes to the foundation of your success is really figuring out your why and getting to the deep layers, peeling back the onion on why it is that you want. Going deep on what it is that you're trying to accomplish and why that is. Now, the second chapter I want to cover is chapter 4, which is the power of your story. And this I have talked about in several recent books, but I wanted to cover it again here because he has a whole chapter dedicated to it. But this is really, again, understanding the thought patterns you tell yourself. So he gives a really good example in a book where this woman had basically been a stay-at-home homemaker her whole life. Her kids end up leaving, and now she's 60 and she's an empty nester, and her husband's always had a job, and she doesn't feel fulfilled because her life's purpose, which was raising her children, they have now left. So she also has it in her mind that she's too old to do anything. Well, through kind of figuring out her why and understanding that you can rewrite your story at any point in time, she goes on to create and become a wildly successful entrepreneur by the age of 63. And I think a lot of us get stuck in patterns where we tell ourselves the same story day after year, day after day, week after week, year after year. And when you start to stay in your same pattern, your same story, it never allows you to have any growth, right? You're never really able to have your own fulfillment. So he talks a lot about purging your inner villain, finding out what that dialogue is that's limiting your belief system and then holding you back, and then trying to rewrite that script and reframe it and purge that inner villain. So this is something that a lot of us need to do, is just take account of the thoughts that we tell ourselves. Ed Milet talks a lot about something that people on average have 40,000 different thoughts a day. 90 93 to 95% are the same thoughts every single day. So it's in that 5 to 7% difference, then you can start to rewire and actually change the trajectory of your life. So this is why it's important to do things like meditation and breathing techniques and even just exercising, because you start to become a lot more aware of your thoughts. And if you're aware of your thoughts, then you can catch them more in real time and change exactly what you're thinking, especially when it comes to self-deprecating thoughts. And the last chapter I want to talk to you about is chapter 8, After the Yes. So this talks a little bit more about kind of a business mind frame. A lot of us, for me, I've been in sales a long time, which I've talked about, which is why I cover, a number of sales books. But a lot of us, after we get the sale, after somebody says yes, it's a big rush, it's a big win. But then we typically forget to continue to follow up and to serve. Right? And I think this is a great analogy too for relationships. A lot of us try really, really hard to win over our spouse. The first 3 to 4 months, it's like the honeymoon period. You're pulling out all of the stops, right? You're opening the door, you're buying the flowers, you're taking people to dinner, and then you get in your relationships and you're a year down the road and all that's gone out the door. Well, this chapter really wants to say, continue to do those great things and to serve people after they've said yes. So he talks about John Mitchell, who opened up the salon line. And he was talking about that he said that he's not in the selling business, he is in the reselling business, right? Or Paul Mitchell. Geez, John Paul, I'm getting them all confused. I think that's his dog salon. So Paul Mitchell was talking about that he's in the reselling business, right? Because he doesn't want to sell somebody once. He wants to be able to create brand loyalty, recognition, and give them a great experience. And so this is really what this chapter comes down to. It's about giving someone an experience, not only during the sale, but also after the sale, so that we start to have repeat business, you start to have loyalty. And this can apply in all areas of your life, like continue to date your spouse, continue to be good to your friends, continue to interact with your parents, right? Make sure you call them on the weekends. So just really practical tip for everyday life for how you want to treat people, but especially important when it comes to business. Too many of us don't realize how much business we leave on the table by not just reservicing the clients that we've already won their hearts and minds. We go out hunting for new clients, not realizing that there's probably more opportunity with the people that we've already done business with, that we don't have to go through the honeymoon period again. So really great. So the book is really practical. It's about 300 pages, like 12 chapters, but a very easy read. Dean's a great storyteller, so there's all kinds of stories throughout the book. I said you can go pick up the book. You just type in his name. It's usually the first thing that's going to show up. He's got several other books too, some on real estate. I have another book called The Underdog, which is a bit more business motivational related as well. Dean's done tons of work now with Tony Robbins, or they give back, and they've done kind of leadership masterminds together. So you can be a part of his kind of inner circle, get mentored by Dean. He does lots to give back to the community now that he's made so much money, and he doesn't really have to work. He can kind of do whatever he wants. So I'll post a link to the book from Amazon, but again, I'll post a link to Dean's website as well, because I'm sure you can go pick up the book for free there, just pay shipping and handling. Although on Amazon, the book's probably like 10, 11, 12 bucks, and it's a nice hardback cover. And I think if you find it free and pay shipping and handling, it's like $7.99 to get the book free. So anyway, overall, I definitely recommend the book if you're looking to think in the mind of someone who's made and generated hundreds of millions of dollars. Then it's a book you should go pick up, because Dean's the real deal. He's created several companies. The guy's worth a ton of money, and he's just overall a good guy. He's a good father. He's a good husband. I've listened to a lot of his material on lots of podcasts over the last 5-6 years. So I'm a big believer in what he's doing and how he serves and how he helps people. So go check out the book. If you guys haven't done so, please subscribe to the podcast and YouTube channel. Appreciate it if you could share with 3 or 4 like-minded people that are book lovers, that are looking for new things to read to help elevate their lives. And thank you so much, and hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season.